Everyone doing well? I certainly hope so. And I appreciate you checking in with us here at Warehouse and Operations as a Career. I'm Marty, and I'm happy to report I'm well as well. Well, I want to dive right into it today with a quick story. 2 weeks ago, I sat in on a PIT class, or Powered Industrial Truck class. A gentleman was in attendance, very knowledgeable, turned out to be very experienced with operating an electric platform rider jack, and he'd been a high productivity order selector for a number of years. Now, he of course sailed right through the classroom part of the standard. We all went out to the equipment. It wasn't a really big class. I think there was 5 others, and everybody lined up. It was hot. We're in Texas in August. It's just hot. I was standing over by him, and we kind of struck up a conversation while the instructors were giving the others their observations, one at a time, kind of one-on-one. Well, let me tell you, he was not happy about having to wait his turn. He told me that he did not understand why he was forced to take the class, and that waiting to jump on a pallet jack just to be observed was, well, he didn't say silly, but I got the gist of it. He felt like his recruiter had verified his references and knew what he could do on a jack. I told him I was certain he'd been certified or licensed before, right? He said no, that he'd never sat through any class like he just sat through. I asked him if he'd ever heard of OSHA. He said of course. I asked him what it meant to him. He just kind of shrugged his shoulders. I pointed out that he just sat through a class that referenced 29 CFR 1910.178 powered industrial trucks like 10 times. He said, yeah, and I took notes. I wanted to check it out a little bit later. He said the class did teach me a lot about the center of gravity, weight management, on the lifts, and especially about going up and down ramps. I've been doing that wrong about half of the time. Well, his turn came up on the pallet jack, so our conversation was over. And by the way, he was as good, confident, and as safe an operator as he had professed to be. And I had never expected to hear from him again, but to my amazement, well, hang on. I'm getting ahead of myself here. I'll circle back around with running into him again in just a minute. Let's talk about the OSHA standard 29 CFR for a bit. CFR stands for Code of Federal Regulations, and there's 50 of them. I'm adding the OSHA.gov link in the show notes. My hope is that after today, you'll just have to go check them out for yourself. And I found a simple-to-understand title or code chart on Wikipedia. I'll add it here too. It shows us that Title 29 is labor. Maybe we should back up a little bit again. Let me kind of explain it. In 1970, President Richard Nixon, along with the Congress, of course, created the Occupational Safety and Health Organization, an agency dedicated to the ideal that us workers should never have to choose between our lives and a safe work environment. By the way, this was a bipartisan effort. Everyone did used to get along. That probably was wrong to say, right? Anyway, so now let's look at 1910, kind of the meat of the standard for me. 1910 is the part number, titled Occupational Safety and Health Standards. Now, 1910 starts out with 1910 Subpart A, and it runs all the way to Subpart Z, and then kind of start picking up some appendixes and classifications, stuff way above my head, so check it out for yourself. I did want to talk about just one or two of the different items real quick. 1910 A1 is purpose and scope. 1910 A5, applicability of standards. 1910 Subpart D is walking, working surfaces. 1910 Subpart H.111 is storing and handling anhydrous ammonia You've heard me talk quite a bit about anhydrous ammonia before. And then we'll jump all the way down to Subpart N.178, Powered Industrial Trucks. So now we're at Title 29 of the Code of Federal Regulations, Part number 1910, Part number Title Occupational Safety and Health Standards, Subpart N, Materials Handling and Storage. And at Standards number 1910.178, titled Powered Industrial Trucks, better known as 29 CFR 1910.178. So let's take just a couple of minutes and look at a few of them. 1910.178A says General Requirements. 1910.178A1. This section contains safety requirements relating to fire protection, design, maintenance, and use of fork trucks, tractors, platform lift trucks, motorized hand trucks, and other specialized industrial trucks powered by electric motors or internal combustion engines. This section does not apply to compressed air or non-flammable compressed gas-operated industrial trucks, nor to farm vehicles, nor to vehicles intended primarily for earth-moving or over-the-road hauling. One of the very neat things about the standards, it defines everything that they could have thought of. And of course, they're adding to it. It's kind of a living, breathing document. It's added to, every year. And then we'll look down at 1910.178A2, and it basically just speaks to all new powered industrial trucks acquired and used by an employer shall meet the design and construction requirements for powered industrial trucks established in the American National Standards for Powered Industrial Trucks, Part 2, ANSI, B56.1-1969. And I'm just going to cruise through some of what I think are some of the more important ones. 1910.178A6, the user shall see that all nameplates and markings are in place and are maintained in a legible condition. And we learn about data plates in our classes, our PIT classes, right? I'm jumping ahead again. A little bit more on that in just a minute. Now, 1910.178B are designations. For the purpose of this standard, there are 11 different designations of industrial trucks or tractors as follows: D, DS, DY, E, ES, EE, EX, G, GS, LP, and LPS. They're basically talking, and this is a large section here, they're talking about all the different motors and all the different fuels. It's really, really interesting. I would encourage you to check that out. Then let's bounce on down to 1910.178E, safety guards. E.1 states high lift rider trucks shall be fitted with an overhead guard manufactured in accordance with paragraph A2 of this section, unless operating conditions just do not permit. Ooh, and I think this is pretty interesting. 1910.178G, and there's several of these. Read about the changing and charging of storage and batteries. .178G1, battery changing installations shall be located in areas designated for that purpose. G2, facilities shall be provided for flushing and neutralizing spilled electrolyte, for fire protection, for protecting charging apparatus from damage by trucks, and for adequate ventilation for dispersal of fumes from gassing batteries. And it goes on to talk quite a bit about changing batteries, and 178H1 is a reserve section for something to be added to, and you'll see several of these in the standards. H2, and I kind of like this one, where general lighting is less than 2 lumens per square foot, auxiliary directional lighting shall be provided on the truck. Oh, and here's real good. 1910.178J talks about dock boards or bridge plates. And it tells you to see Subpart D for those instructions or guidance. 178K is trucks and railroad cars. Now, this is one we deal with, I think we all deal with. 1910.178K1, The brakes of highway trucks shall be set and wheel chocks placed under the rear wheels to prevent the truck from rolling while they are boarded with powered industrial trucks. K2 talks about wheel stops or other recognized positive protection shall be provided to prevent railroad cars from moving during loading or unloading operations. We here at WAOC have talked quite a bit about wheel chocks. I think it's one of the more important tools that we utilize as equipment operators. 178K3 talks about fixed jacks may be necessary to support a semi-trailer and prevent upending during the loading or unloading when the trailer is not coupled to a tractor. And I'm just going to kind of cruise down a little bit. Let's get down to 1910.178 L1, safe operation. And here's L1I. The employer shall ensure that each powered industrial truck operator is competent to operate a powered industrial truck safely, as demonstrated by the successful completion of the training and evaluation specified in this paragraph L. And here's L1II. Prior to permitting an employee to operate a powered industrial truck, except for training purposes, the employer shall ensure that each operator has successfully completed the training required by this paragraph, L, except as permitted in paragraph L5. And then we'll look at 1910.178 L2I and L2IA. Trainees may operate a powered industrial truck only under the direct supervision of persons who have knowledge, training, and experience to train operators and evaluate their competence and, where such operations does not endanger the trainee or other employees. And this is where it really kind of defines a little bit of the classes that we all take. It's 1910.178 L2II. Training shall consist of a combination of formal instruction, lecture, discussion, interactive computer learning, videotape, written materials, practical training, and demonstrations performed by the trainer and practical exercises performed by the trainee, and evaluation of the operator's performance in the workplace. 1910.178 L2III. All operator training and evaluation shall be conducted by persons who have the knowledge, training, and experience to train powered industrial truck operators and evaluate their competence. And it goes on with quite a few others. I want to bounce on down. It covers quite a few of the things that we cover, given a class, like truck controls and instrumentation, where they are located, what they do, and how they work. Engine or motor operation, steering and maneuvering, visibility, and we talk a lot about restrictions due to the loads. Vehicle capacity, that's very important. And vehicle stability, there's whole sections on that. It's really important to go over any vehicle inspection and maintenance that the operator is going to be required to perform. And refueling and or recharging of the batteries. Really, any other operating instructions, warnings, or precautions listed in the operator's manual for the types of equipment, that the employee is going to be trained on or trained how to operate. It's really interesting. I don't want to keep giving you a bunch of numbers and letters and talk about different things, but ramps and other slope surfaces that could affect the vehicle stability is covered in, L3IIG. And I think this is a good one too, L3IIH. Closed environments and other areas where insufficient ventilation or poor vehicle maintenance could cause a buildup of carbon monoxide or diesel exhaust. We really have to make sure that fumes don't build up. And then 1910.178 L4, refresher training and evaluation. This is really important. Section I states refresher training, including an evaluation of the effectiveness of that training, shall be conducted as required by paragraph L4II to ensure that the operator has the knowledge and skills needed to operate the powered industrial truck. 1910.178 L4II, talks about refresher training in relevant topics. Has to be provided to the operator when the operator has been observed operating the vehicle in an unsafe manner, the operator has been involved in an accident or a near-miss incident, or the operator has received an evaluation that reveals that the operator is not operating the truck safely. These are all really important, and as young leads and supervisors or even, employees, it is our job to look for those kind of things. 1910.178 L6 mentions certification. The employer shall certify that each operator has been trained and evaluated as required by this paragraph L. The certification shall include the name of the operator, the date of the training, the date of the evaluation, and the identity of the person performing the training or evaluation. I may have went a little long there, but this is really interesting when you start reading through it. Of course, it is not necessary to know the entire standard word for word. As equipment operators, we're going to learn a lot of it, but I bet we'll be much better of an employee if we practice a bit more of it. I hope at least you'll pull it up and check it out. I've added the OSHA website page mark right here in the show notes. Go to Warehouse and OperationsAsACareer.com and click the link. Easy peasy. I'll reach out and get us a bona fide safety person on the show to really explain it all to us. But here's the little bit that I do know. I like checking up on it anyway. I find it really, really interesting. So I told you I saw that student again. To my amazement, he stopped back by to see us the following week. He wanted to let me know that he had gotten the job and he was really enjoying it. He could see his career being there. He said I had sparked his interest in the whole 29 CFR 1910.178 thing, and he wanted me to know that he had read the entire thing. He fist bumped me, kind of a COVID-19 thing right now, and left. Until next week, please be safe. Check out our safety standards. Our family needs us to know them.